At 7:02 this morning, we continue to follow the aftermath of the recent ice storm and the historic power outages that it has caused, not just here in the Mid-State, but really across the area as well.
And joining us live right now is the president and CEO of Middle Tennessee Electric, Chris Jones. Chris, good morning to you. I want to say thanks for waking up with us. Let's talk about MTE's initial plan for the storm response. How many days out were you aware of what was coming, and how did you plan?
Well, good morning to both of you too. Honored to be with you. So, I mean, this was a long advertised weather event. And so, you know, the forecast modified quite a bit every day, but this was a long anticipated kind of a thing. You know, we were talking about snow at first, but when mentions of ice started, you know, we had to begin assuming for that possibility because of all the types of weather that our region can face. For an electric system, an ice storm is the one that can cause the most widespread damage.
Why is that, sir? Why is ice so much more devastating than snow?
Because of when a weather system like that comes across an area and ice accumulates across a widespread area, and with the volume of trees that we have within our service territory and in a region like this, that's what creates that susceptibility. So when you begin to have ice accumulations of plus half an inch, then you can have significant damage across the system.
Let's talk a little bit about how you mentioned just a second ago how you pivoted when you realized that ice was going to be a major factor here. Can you explain what you did? Did you increase the number of crews that you had coming in or on standby? Did you otherwise change routes, mindsets? Can you be more specific about how you pivoted?
Sure. So probably about 3 days out is when we began to get some indications with the projected ice accumulations that our service territory was going to be subject to, you know, that plus a half an inch or so of accumulation. So we were fully mobilized internally already. So our team, you know, fully was ready to go. But yes, we began to make contacts and make plans and arrangements for extra help that we knew would be likely if what was forecasted was going to happen. So we began to execute, put those plans in place. And I have to, you know, I'm honored to lead a fantastic team. And we have worked hard to build a reputation for excellence with response following the storm. And so my teammates should do such credit for that. Very proud of our team.
How many extra crews did you have? I'm curious, like when you go to contingency plans like that and say you're thinking, all right, we might have to bring in somebody from out of state, what do those numbers look like?
Yeah, so this was the largest mobilization of extra crews we have ever had in the almost 90-year history of Middle Tennessee Electric. So, so we have, you know, we have a fantastic set of linemen. And we have about, you know, 150 or so who work in that capacity. But we brought on, you know, 400 or 500 extra linemen in different structures, you know, different crew compositions, so we could be in a position to have the flexibility to handle the kinds of damage that we were anticipating. And of course, you know, like with anything, you learn lessons as you go. And as we're doing our after-action response, we are seeing things we could have done better. But again, so proud of the way that the team executed on this storm response.
You know, I got to ask you about the differences between your system and your neighboring systems as well. I know a lot of people have had questions. Can we just switch from this system to the other system? Why are there significant differences about the way that your system is set up versus some of your neighboring systems? And I'm not looking for you to throw rocks, sir, but I am asking because a lot of people are wondering, why can't we just operate like they do?
Well, you know, I'll say that one thing that we did as we completed our restoration, which thankfully about 3 days in, or just after we got through 3 days of restoration, we were pretty much 99% complete. So we began to turn our attention to assist our neighboring utilities. And so, again, our team responded great. As far as the differences are concerned, you know, there's going to come a time where you know, evaluations are completed. Those after-action reviews are performed. There's a lot to learn. It's really hard for me to say right now. And again, we're going to be participants in this effort collectively as a utility community here in Tennessee. That's something that we do very well, and I'm very proud of, that we work collectively, we work in partnership one with the other.
Yeah.
So that time is going to come. But what I can speak to is what we did here at MTE.
Yeah.
And again, I couldn't be prouder of our team.
So you mentioned, things that you learn from in a storm like this. Is there anything specifically that you can take from this ice storm, being historic as it was, as we move through the rest of even just this winter?
Sure. It's like with anything, you're going to learn. You go through something like this, you're going to learn a lot. And we look back, and again, so proud of what we were able to accomplish, but we have learned a number of things already that we would have done differently. And one thing that we did this time, and of course capabilities change. The last kind of generational ice storm we had was several years ago, and so we have a lot more communication capability than we did then. And something that we were intentional about, but that we also learned more about, was communicating consistently and thoroughly as we could with our members. So we certainly understood through this process that there's a thirst for information, and it can be difficult to come by as you're evaluating, through a situation like this. But we certainly learned that our members appreciated that communication, and it's something that we're going to continue to refine and augment as we go forward.
All right. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it there with Middle Tennessee Electric, and great job on the recovery, and good luck in the future.
Thank you both. Good morning again.